Criddle isn't breaking down copious amounts of film on his beloved Cougar football team. He's talking Cougar Sports, and he's doing it right here on ESPN 960 and ESPN960sports.com.
Welcome back to Cougar Sports on ESPN 960 and ESPN960sports.com. Filling in for Ben Criddle, Sean Walker from KSL.com, getting you through the drive time hours. It's almost rush hour, so we'll keep you company while you're in your car or while you're waiting to clock out for the final hour of the work week. Brian Logan, as the government calls him, B-Lo as we call him, by my side. Ronald Weaver III in the producer's chair. Gavin Lee on the social. Thanks, guys, for joining me. We're gonna talk BYU basketball right now on ESPN 960 because I know it's football season, guys, but practices have started. There's that little chill in the fall air, and every morning I walk outside and I go, it's basketball season. I'm ready for college basketball, guys. I am ready for college basketball. BYU basketball on ESPN 960 today is brought to you by Twisted Cow Shakes, home of the over-the-top shakes, the official shake and ice cream spot for ESPN 960 listeners. Created by two Provo residents, Dayton and Chloe, with the help of showing people there's freedom in being unique. From horchata to brown cow brownie, cookie butter, coconut, and so many other classic favorites. They like to say some ice cream is better than others. Check them out at 250 North University Avenue, right in the heart of downtown Provo. Open Monday through Saturday until midnight. Check them out at thetwistedcowshakes.com, The Twisted Cow on Instagram as well. Let's get out to the ESPN 960 Bout Time Pub and Grub hotline and welcome in second-year women's basketball coach. I almost said first year again coach, but second-year women's basketball coach. You're an established veteran at this point. Amber Whiting from the BYU women's basketball program. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
You're right. It's good to be here.
Coach, I gotta get you started off a little bit because I called you earlier in the program the best dressed coach on BYU's coaching roster. And specifically I'm referring to your shoe game. I don't think, all due respect to Kalani Sitake, all due respect to Mark Pope, to Diljit Taylor, to some of the other coaches on the roster, I don't think there's a BYU coach that has a better shoe game than you do. Can you confirm or deny for us?
I mean, you said it, not me, so hey. I take a lot of pride in my shoe game, but I try and keep up with my family because they're the ones that are always getting the goods all the time.
I was gonna say, in that family of four between Trent, Amari, and Jace, I mean it's a lot to keep up with. So like, I don't.
Yeah, for sure. You know.
Yeah, like I say you're number one on the BYU coaching roster. You're definitely somewhere 1 through 4 in the Whiting clan. I just don't know where to put you 1 through 4, and it might depend on the day. I won't lie.
I would shoe game definitely 4 because I only like the Jordan 1 lows. But then my family, you know, they're like, oh, you got to get the 2, the 3, the 4s. And I'm like, I don't really care. I just like the comfort. So
that's fair.
Yeah, they go all over the place with it.
That's true. That's true. They are a little bit crazy. They're a little bit wild. Amber Whiting from BYU women's basketball, second-year head coach, joining us a little after the first week of practice. We're about a week and 3 days into the official NCAA practice period, Coach. How'd week number 1 go, and how are the girls looking?
I think we had a little bit of a cheat session with being able to go to Italy. So we've kind of already got those 3 games under our belt. I kind of see already chemistry that I like, rotations that I like, and we were able to teach a lot more this summer, having those 10 practices before. And so I feel like we are ahead of the game compared to last year. Not compared to other teams. I'm just comparing my team last year to my team this year. And so I really like where we're at right now. For sure.
Well, and you mentioned you got a little bit of a cheat sheet going overseas to that preseason tour of Italy, playing a couple games, getting, I think you're given about 10 practices or so to kind of get acclimated for that trip, and then obviously the trip over there and whatnot. How big of a cheat sheet is bringing Lauren Gustin back on this team as well? She was recently named All Big 12 preseason honorable mention. She's arguably the best rebounder in BYU history, probably the best in the modern era. I'll say it's. I'm going to flip a coin between her and Tina Gunn Robinson. It's 1A and 1B in my mind. How big of a cheat sheet is she going into her final year of college basketball for you guys to rely on?
Well, I mean, it's no secret she went in the portal, and so for her to choose to come back and choose us, I told her, like, her teammates, her players, her sisters on the team, they're going to play so hard for her just because she chose that, right? And I see the camaraderie. I see a different side of Lauren that I haven't seen last year. Like, I see her in the gym shooting nonstop. I see her always going to the stats to look at, where she was at for the day and what she needs to get better on. And, I mean, it's crazy. Like, yes, she is the nation's leading rebounder last year, but it's crazy to see the growth in her from last year to this year, just in, like, skill level. And then her leadership as well. Like, she had opened up last year and started talking, but now it's like pulling kids aside, putting her arm around them, teaching the young ones, this is how we should do it. This is what we do. This is what is acceptable. And just always holding a line culturally for us. It's been really big for us this year.
I'm happy that she's made her way back, because I became a fan, towards the end of the season and watching you guys play. And, man, I literally almost cried. I was telling that to Ben, when I heard the news. So I'm happy she came back. And because I just want to say, my offer to you that I made to you in the summer, when we did the Welcome to Big 12, it's still open. I'm ready to sign. So, whenever you.
I need you to come be a practice guy squad for a bit and just see how hard it is to play against Low.
I'm there. We heard the
That's
invite.
an official invite.
That's an invite. I'm there.
Right
I
there.
can't wait.
This is a binding contract,
I
Coach.
can't wait. I'm about to go do some yoga so I can stretch and get ready.
10 to 12 tomorrow.
10 to 12 tomorrow. Okay. I'm there. What? Oh, I can't. I can't do tomorrow. I'm doing BYU Sports Nation from 10 to 11.
Oh.
I can come 11 to 12 though.
Okay.
11 to 12. Okay.
Or you can come Saturday. Either one.
I'll do Saturday. I want the full experience. So I'll come.
We'll
I'll come
sub you
Saturday.
in.
Okay. I'm ready. I'm
do
ready.
it. Oh my
Nope.
God.
Nope. Look. No pressure on you. No pressure on the.
We're gonna get some film on you and back up all this talk, right?
Oh, please. I might bring my own.
I was just about to say, we are 100% bringing a camera crew for this.
Absolutely.
Like, we are absolutely bringing a
Absolutely. Look.
I don't know why, but any other reporter, media guy, you're the one that gets my blood boiling a lot.
You know why?
Just lay one on you,
Look. I'm a competitor. You know what I mean? Like, I talk like this to my 12-year-old. I'm like, you're not about to beat me in Uno tonight, son. So it's just how I am. Like when we race to the car,
yeah.
I'm dusting him. When we I'm just competitive. So. Don't take it too personal,
I don't take it personal. I just want to be able to shut it up sometimes.
I can't wait. Okay, cool. Okay, so wait. Now that's me as an athlete. Back to me being an analyst.
Okay.
What I want to know from you is specifically when it comes to the growth, right? You said going overseas and comparing, this year, and then comparing your team this year and last year, you've seen growth from those two comparisons. I want to know the difference in the chemistry of the team, maybe on the court or off the court. Usually I know when other teams have, played overseas, the biggest thing that their coaches and the players say is that, we got extremely close. And that did wonders for us, outside of the court or outside the field. Have you seen any growth there in those areas?
Oh, of course. So when we went over there, I did a couple things intentionally to just mix it up. And so every time we changed cities, they had a different roommate, and putting returners, because I have 7 new incoming people, right? So I'm putting returners with one of those new incomers. So every night they changed roommates as far as cities. So I think they had 4 different roommates. Every night they had to sit by somebody new, not just girls, but staff members as well. So everybody had to intermix, including spouses and whatnot. We had different people do, we call them inspirational, spiritual thoughts at night before we went to depart for the night or do what they need to do. And then there was one night where the staff went and just did a cooking class, and then the girls went and did their own, went to dinner, and just the memories that we created throughout the whole entire trip, like, they're just, it's invaluable. Like, I mean, you can't put a price on it, and you can't spend that much time together when we're here going to, we go to practice, film, whatever, but then you always, like, depart, and you go to class, you go to your apartment, you spend every minute together for 10 straight days. And so, and I am proud to say there wasn't, like, nobody wanted to kill each other. There wasn't drama. There wasn't, you know, and I mean, it was hot. It was sweaty. And it was like, so it became fun things that we made fun of things in order to make jokes with each other, or, you know, and so we became close. And you don't realize until you're in the mess of it that how close you can get.
Wow, look. I wish you could. I hope you can hear this clapping. I don't know if you can hear it, Ryan. If you want to play some clapping, but man, that kudos to you, because awesome. I always tell guys, especially the guys that aren't LDS. 'Cause I'm not LDS. You know, obviously being black, being causes double minorities. When you're black and you're not LDS in Utah County, you're a double minority. And so I said, what helped me out the best was just getting with my teammates and trying to be underneath them as much as possible. Either it's film, like I barely went bowling. Like, I never went hiking in California, right? I never went down rivers, and I could swim, but I never did nature stuff. And I really believe that me taking those, like, that initial or those additional steps to be closer with them in the summer really separated me from all the other transfers that came in competing for the same spot. It was because I had that chemistry.
You just don't see, and I don't see the clicks that normally you do on, especially a women's team, right? Everybody just kind of meshes together, and you'll see random 2 girls or 3 girls here and there, and it's never the same 3, and they just, like, they get after each other on the court, but then they can walk off the court and be fine, you know? And I just think having that experience over there together helps be able to have that happen.
Talking to Amber Whiting, second-year head coach of the BYU women's basketball program here on ESPN 960. And, Coach, I'm really glad that you brought up all those newcomers, because you've got a lot of new girls on this team, and we've talked a lot about those new girls. Not quite as much as we talked about Lauren Gustin. She's a fan favorite of this program. We are Gustin, #Gustin stands over here.
Wait. I think it's in Gus We Trust, right?
In Gus We Trust, yeah.
Yes, the saying that I created when we had her on was in Gus We Trust.
Yes.
And
Gus We Trust.
And I'll be saying it at every post-game interview when she's there in Gus We Trust.
I'm getting a T-shirt made for that. I'll get you one, Coach. What size you wear?
we got T-shirts.
Are you talking about me? Give me a small and medium.
Okay. Perfect.
We are officially Gusties. I know Taylor has her Swifties, but we're Gusties over here.
But I like it.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of those newcomers, though, because we've talked about a bunch of the new players. You know, a certain girl named Amari Whiting. I think you know her. You've heard of her a time or two. We've talked about some other freshmen with you, Aaliyah Matavao. We've talked about Kaylee Wolson with you, the sharpshooter out of Lone Peak. Marina Mata, who I think Marina is officially on campus now after working through her visa issues and whatnot.
Yep, she's here and in practice.
She is here and in the flesh. She actually exists. She's not just an Instagram profile, so that is good to know. But I wanted to ask you about a couple of transfers that you've had that we haven't really been able to talk about. One JUCO transfer, Kylie Krebs out of Glendale Community College from the North Shore of Oahu, I understand. She's a competitive surfer, which I want to ask you about. But I want to start with Lauren Davenport. She's a junior from Idaho Falls. So she's an Idaho girly like you are a little bit. Transfer from Boston University. What have you made about her and kind of what you've seen from her as Lauren's joined this team and kind of fit in with this team through practice?
Lauren's awesome. I played against her when I was up there coaching in high school, so I already knew who she was. So when her name hit the portal, I was like, wow, let me call. And I knew her high school coach, so I just called immediately, and he got me in touch with her. But she provides a huge mismatch at the 4 spot for us if she plays the 4. And she also can play the 3, so she can provide mismatches there because she's a bigger guard. And so if we're going to play like a 4-out system, I can use her at the 4. If we're going to play, two bigs. I can move her to three. So she just gives me that versatility in my lineup and for depth. She can shoot it. She can defend. She's a hustle kid. She can do it all. And so that's what I was really excited for her to pick her up. And the fact that she wanted to move closer to home, it was like an easy decision, easy choice. And so, yeah, and we instantly clicked when we got on the phone. And so it was really good. She played against Amari too. And so there was already that familiarity. And so then from there, going to Italy, like I say, like you wouldn't ever even know she hadn't been on our team.
The other transfer that I'm very intrigued by is Kylie Krebs out of the North Shore of Oahu in Hawaii by way of Glendale Community College. So she's a junior college transfer for you. Comes from a really athletic family, got a couple of siblings that played a whole bunch of sports, football, water polo, rugby, all at the Power 5 level, a couple at BYU, in fact. But is Kylie the first ever competitive surfer that you've coached in basketball?
Yes. I didn't actually know that until I got on the phone with her and talked to her, but she's crazy good at it. And Kylie's like that glue kid for me. She always she tells it like it is. And from the day one when we had our very first team, like, barbecue when she came in here in June, she was just randomly standing talking to, I believe it was Nani, and they were playing cornhole, and they were in, like, this deep discussion. And I kind of turned to my coaches like, did they know each other before this? And they were like, no, I don't think so. And so that's who Kylie is. She is a relationship person, and so she's just going to dive deep in on you and get to know you. And so she's like a genuine soul. If you ever get to sit down and talk to her inside and out, she's beautiful. And, yeah, I love Kai.
That's awesome. She's literally first time she meets somebody, and she's immediately in a deep dive discussion on cornhole. I might have to challenge her to a cornhole game too, because I not to brag, but I did win my family cornhole game this summer when we were in San Diego. So I beat 4 whole other people. I come from a small family, but I guess you could say I'm pretty good. I'm kind of a semi-professional at this point. I'm kind of a semi-professional, so I'll make sure to bring that up with her. Speaking of competitive, though, I did want to have you on today, Coach, to pick your brain a little bit, because the Big 12 women's basketball preseason coaches poll dropped today. And I got to imagine you've already seen this, or maybe you've blocked it out. I don't know. BYU picked number 11, though. Texas 1, Baylor 2, Kansas 3. How are we feeling about that number 11 pick? And are you ready to shock some people come the tip-off of the season, your first season in the Big 12?
Well, going into that coaches poll, when we were in the coaches meetings in Texas in, I believe it was May, we really, all of us, with the transfer portal, you don't even know where people's rosters are, right, when you sit down and do something like that, and so you can actually see it. And so people were shuffling around. I know that coaches were arguing because one coach had a kid go in the portal and the other coach picked him up, and the rival schools or whatever it was. And so I didn't really know where we would land. And so I'm not, like, crazy shocked, but I'm also excited because that gives us so much time to grow and what we want to do. And I'm just really excited for what's coming. Like, you get to go play the best every night out. And so in the WCC, that's like going out and playing Gonzaga every single night. And, like, I'm excited for it, and I know my girls are excited for it. That's what every day in practice, they prepare for that, and so they go harder. And so I don't really, I'm glad we're picked where we picked, so then we can go make some noise.
Yeah, I think BYU, just in general, all teams, we play really well with a chip on our shoulder, and I think that has to do a little bit more culturally. And I can say this because I'm not LDS, but, church history and when you hear other Christians saying, "Oh, you guys are Mormons," you guys, I think just naturally that helps us out a lot. And so I always like to be the underdog as well. But because when it comes to the schedule and there's other teams that have played so far, have you talked to other coaches and said, "Hey, you guys have started your conference play. Is there any tips or tricks that you guys could lend me?" Or do you think it's something more of you have to experience it yourself?
I talked to Jenny from Oklahoma. Her and I are close friends, And I talked to her out on the road recruiting this summer, and I was like, okay, because we've played each other now because they came to here, right? And so I was like, give it to me. What do I need to expect? Like, what should I be ready for? And she just kind of put it in a good way that I didn't think about. Every single team plays a different style of basketball. So, like, when you go to the SEC, there's a lot of teams that play a certain way, and they're all very similar. But this way, you got to prepare different for a lot of different styles of play. And so that's going to be – we dove into that this summer, into film on each team, like, how they press or how they do something different. And then you go to, like, there's a couple new incoming coaches, like Mark Campbell at TCU. Obviously, the 4 new teams that are coming into Big 12. So it's not like we're going into a conference that's already been established across the board. There are 5 or 6 of us that are brand new. Mark Kellogg at West Virginia. Like, we have a lot of new faces as well. And so they have to prepare for us just like we have to prepare for them. And so I think it kind of evens the playing field out a little bit that way for us, and which I'm excited to dive into. But, I mean, next year we won't be the newbies, right? There's newbies coming in. And so the same thing again. We got to go back through that process.
That's true. It's all new. I should say not all new. It's almost all new this year with the first year in the Big 12 Conference. But there's also a very kind of sense of familiarity with that non-conference schedule that you put into effect. Some you guys are going to play at the old BYU Hawaii campus in that North Shore Classic. You've got a whole bunch of the in-state schools on the schedule. Your home openers against Weber State. You got Utah State. You're playing Utah Valley, another good crosstown rivalry in there. Was it a big deal going into so much unfamiliarity, conference-wise, to kind of keep a little bit of sort of sameness, I guess, on the non-conference side for you guys?
Yeah, Lee does a really good job with our schedule. He's in charge of it, and he, tries to get some really good tests and then some games that will help us work on things. But then also we have to work around, like, there's a week that we have to be out of the Marriott Center, so we have to be on the road. And, I mean, obviously Power 5 now, so teams want, the bye games are a lot harder to try to find. So he does a really good job strategically trying to do that. But you always gotta try and play your regional teams that are semi-close for travel purposes. Because then when you get into the Big 12, travel's going to be a lot more, right? And so try and keep it minimum at first so they can get ready for the gauntlet that's coming. He does a good job with it, but that's just what we tried to do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to lie, Coach. One game that probably almost zero fans, maybe zero fans in general, are looking at right now, but one that really kind of got me a little bit excited was seeing LMU back on your guys' schedule. Just a little bit of a throwback to the WCC. You obviously played in or coached in that conference last year in your first year, and most of your girls know kind of the style of play in the WCC as well. Is there a game on this schedule that you're really looking forward to, whether it's in conference or out of conference, or something that you're really looking forward to with this overall schedule? Because I'm not going to lie, and you already know this year, a week into practice, but the season is here for all intents and purposes,
Yeah. No, I try and tell my girls game by game, one game at a time. I don't want to ever look ahead. I mean, I know everybody's talking about our Texas game there. That's like the last game of the season, right? We have to go game by game and get better every single time we step on the floor. And so I try and just keep them focused on one game at a time. And I know people use that like lip service a lot, but I really am. Right now, it's just Montana State. That's it.
BYU women's basketball head coach Amber Whiting here on ESPN 960 Radio, talking about her team, talking about her shoe game. You guys can rewind that on the podcast feed a little bit if you missed that. Talking about her first year in the Big 12. Cougs are picked number 11th in the 14-team Big 12. I know there's a lot of numbers there that don't necessarily make sense, but stay with us. It'll eventually even out mathematically, I think. Coach, thanks so much for joining Bilo and I and talking basketball and getting ready for the season with us.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you tomorrow, right?
Saturday. See you Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna be on air. I'm gonna be on air tomorrow, so I want the full experience. Nope. Saturday. I'm there Saturday. I'll see you then.
Call Lizzie. Call Preston. We're gonna bring the video crew. We're gonna document this, Coach.
I'm there.
Serious. We're gonna document this.
Saturday we're 8 to 10.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll see you there.
Saturday from 8 to 10.
8 to 10. 8 to 10.
We'll see you
there.
there.
All right, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, guys. Okay, bye-bye.
That was BYU women's basketball head coach Amber Whiting joining us for a couple of minutes.
I love her. She's so fun.
She's the best. She really is. She's great.
Cool.
She's really great, and I don't know how much higher than number 11 BYU finishes in their first year in the Big 12. I got a sneaky suspicion it's gonna be a little bit higher, though. I think they might be a little bit underrated. I'm not out here calling for them to win the conference in year one or anything like that. Like, no super hot takes here. I think number 11 might be underrating them a little bit. What do you think, Ron?
I wanted to say this. Bilo, I touched on it a little bit of a different way. But, Sean, I've told you this, and we've agreed on this, and I've told Ben, they haven't proven anything. So if you're BYU and you're football probably a little bit different. You kind of have to maybe take that with a chip on your shoulder. But they're ranked 11. They're the top-ranked newcomer. I mean, even for football, they weren't ranked last out of the newcomers. Like, you haven't proven anything. And do I think that there's more proof in the pudding for BYU women's basketball, BYU men's basketball, BYU football? Absolutely. But until you've gone out there and proven it, no one's going to respect you. And I love what Coach Amber Whiting said. I like being ranked low because when we finish higher, when we do this, exactly. Like, and that's the whole thing. And it goes back to what I mentioned in the first hour about Kalani Sitake. Like, all right, people had Oklahoma and Texas winning last year. Who was the national championship? Who won? Oh, TCU. Kansas State won the Big 12 championship? Okay. It's just like I love that mentality from coaches of like, I don't really care what they say. I'm not going to look at that. We're going to go play. And I agree. I don't think this team is going to finish 11th. I think they're going to finish higher than that. But they're not going to win it. Not saying that, but definitely I think, they haven't earned the respect of anybody, which rightfully so from a standpoint. But it's also good to have a chip on your shoulder. But I believe they're getting the credit and the recognition that they deserve as definitely being one of the best newcomers of the four schools coming in the conference.
That was BYU basketball on ESPN 960 Sports, brought to you by Twisted Cow Shakes, home of the over-the-top shakes. Check them out, 250 North University Avenue, right in the heart of downtown Provo, where some ice cream is better than others. Check them online, thetwistedcowshakes.com. We'll take a break, pay some bills, and when we come back, we'll talk with longtime friend of the show, Matt Brown of the Extra Point newsletter for a college football segment right here on ESPN 960, ESPN960sports.com.